Before going any further in our application, I want to take a step back and do some refactoring. And the reason is because we are having a lot of code that it's the same everywhere. For example, these imports over here, we're importing Ionic on every module. And on the previous lesson, we also needed to import the reactive module on our auth module. So in this lesson, we're gonna create something called a shared module. You add all of this stuff to it, and then you can just import the shared module everywhere. And why is that good? It's just because you don't need to write this bunch of code. It becomes like redundant, it's a bit dry, like don't repeat yourself. And it's also, if you take a look at the style guide from Angular, in the Docker documentation, if you go quick reference and then a style guide, there's a shared module here, and they tell you why to do and why not. So you put components, directives, pipes, and anything else that is common to other modules that you can use, exactly like we're going to do right now. So I'm gonna do the one module, the user module, and then you can do the rest. So first thing, we need to create the module. I'm gonna stop my server. We're not gonna run any server on this lesson. So I'm gonna do ng generate module shared. You can call it common or whatever, but it's up to you. Now here on the module, I'm gonna open it up on the side. And these are the things we need to import. Common modules everywhere, forms also, and the Ionic. So you could import all of this stuff in here, remove them from here, and just import the share module over here. There you go. So we have a share module. And for here, we need to add them to the array, to the imports array. Just like that. Now, we are importing to the share module all this stuff, but we need to also export. So these other modules over here can have access to it. And to do that, you can just do a new entry over here. And this one is exports. So we import everything into our shared module and we export them so they can be used inside in our other modules everywhere else. So we have it already. Now our user profile, it's already using it here. This one doesn't have a module. User module in here, we have the commons module over there. But we can just change it, remove it, and put shared module. There you go. Same goes for auth and the other modules. I'm gonna do the auth. Here we're importing the reactive module as well, so we need to add that one to the imports in here. Just like that. And then we can just remove them. Ionic, the common, and the form. And import over here the share module. There you go, here. So I hope by now you get the point of doing this. It will just gonna keep your code clear. Later on, we're gonna add some pipes and other featured components over here that we can share between any other component. So I'm going to replace everywhere else in our application, but I'm not going to show it just for simplicity, because I'm just going to do the same. I'm going to remove this, that, and import the share module. So if you are in doubt, just take a look at the source code provided with the course. One more thing we're going to do is to create a service. In here in our auth service, when you did the verify email link, we use the window prompt. So it's considered best practice to avoid referencing the global objects inside our code. So we're gonna leverage Angular's dependency injection, and dependency injection is what we did in here already. We are creating our functions like send email link. We are injecting it, calling the auth service over here and using the functions from that inside our auth page. So we're going to be leveraging the Angular dependency injection by creating a service that will manage this window object for us. And also because if you're using Angular Universal to do server-side rendering, on the server there is no window object, so you do have to do something different for this code to work in case you want to add it as a server-side rendering. So like this, if you create a Windows service that will manage this window object, you could create a fallback whenever you're going to do server-side rendering or something else in your application. So you could call it your service window stuff in here, and then just take care of that in the service. So let's go ahead and we're going to create a simple service. You could expand it, but this is going to be just like we're going to simply export the window object from it. So I'm going to create a service here. On the terminal, we can just do ng generate service, and I'm going to add it inside our shared folder, and I'm going to call it window. Now here, the only thing we need to do is to create a native window, which is going to be the type of window. And our other components are going to be able to access this native window. So now let's create a function here that is going to get that native window. So this will return a window. And that's all we need to do, return window. Just like that. Here in the constructor, we can call this .native window equals this.getNative window, just like that. Now we can import our service. You can inject this service in our components and use this native window. So as you can see, this is a very simple thing to do, but it's just considered best practice. So later you can improve it on it and add more stuff as you need it. But let's go back to the auth service, and we need to import and add it to our constructor. So private win service, Windows service, and it got imported here at the top. Now below in here, instead of using that, we can just do this.winService.native window, and the prompt will be there. This will work the same. So as you can see, you can just remove that and add your native window, but you can also add it everywhere else. For example, we are referencing local storage, we're referencing the history API as well. This is all global objects that we can use the native window to replace in there.